Welcome back to Real Relief for Sleep module number 5. And as you know, we're talking about the 8 root causes of poor sleep. And in this module, we're going to be talking about hormonal imbalances, which includes the stress and anxiety part of the root cause, as well as progesterone and thyroid issues. Okay. So we've got 4 sections in this module: hormones and sleep to begin with. Then we're going to talk about stress and elevated cortisol, progesterone deficiency, and we'll finish with a wrap up. So when we think about hormones, we really think often about sex and puberty and reproduction and having babies. But the fact is that hormones are chemical messengers and they have lots of functions in the body. And so that is important for metabolism, it's important for the brain, it's important for blood sugars and electrolyte imbalances, and they're also important for sleep. And as we know, melatonin is the sleep hormone, but we're not going to talk about melatonin today. We're going to talk about 3 other hormones. Firstly, cortisol, and really just elevated cortisol. We're going to talk about progesterone deficiency, and then we're going to talk about hypothyroidism. Okay, so when it comes to elevated cortisol, what you need to know is cortisol is a stress hormone. Okay, it's often elevated at night in insomnia. Okay. And some of the common symptoms that you may experience with elevated cortisol is you can't get to sleep, or you wake up through the night with panic or racing mind. Is related to anxiety, and you can also have elevated cortisol when you're rushing and you're stressed out during the day. Okay. So this topic is really applicable to the majority of people with sleep issues, okay, especially if you're stressed. So in the coming sections, I want everybody to watch the topic of elevated cortisol because I think it's really relevant for most people. When it comes to the topic of progesterone deficiency, it's not something that everybody needs to learn about. So you can skip this part of the module if it's not applicable. So firstly, it's not applicable to males. It's only applicable to females. Okay, progesterone is a major female hormone. And the common symptoms that you might experience with a progesterone deficiency is insomnia the week or 2 before your period. Okay, so if you have issues with sleep and it seems to be a bit sporadic and you haven't really thought about your menstrual cycle before, maybe start tracking it. I'll talk about that later. Other symptoms of progesterone deficiency include irritability and anxiety, especially those 2 weeks before your period. PMS symptoms like sore, sensitive breasts or bloating. And irregular periods too, especially for people that are approaching menopause. A deficiency can occur in PMS and PMDD, which is a severe form of PMS, postnatal depression, perimenopause, and menopause too. So I only want the women to watch this part of this module, and especially women that have issues with their insomnia or their sleep 1 or 2 weeks before their period. Cool. Well, the third hormonal imbalance that we're going to discuss just very briefly right now is hypothyroidism, and that is overactive thyroid. Okay, the thyroid is the gland that wraps around your windpipe, your esophagus. Okay, and it looks like a butterfly actually, and it secretes thyroid hormones, and thyroid hormones regulate your metabolism. Okay, so it's involved in your energy levels and weight management too. When it comes to hypothyroidism, it's when you have an overactive thyroid. Okay. Now, this is something that is very easily picked up by your medical doctor as long as you've been given the test. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about this very, very quickly. Okay, but the symptoms of hypothyroidism include weight loss despite an increased appetite, sweating, rapid heart rate, intolerance to heat, frequent bowel motions, and restlessness. Also agitation, anxiety, tremors, and insomnia. Okay, so if you've got any of these symptoms, I recommend that you talk to your doctor about hypothyroidism. So our first question to consider for this module is, do you have any of these symptoms of hypothyroidism? Okay, get out your workbook again. It's good to work through it as we learn it. Okay, and if you said this, that you do have some of these symptoms, make sure that your doctor has ruled out hypothyroidism as a cause for your insomnia. So the test that you'll be looking for is TSH, free T4 and free T3. And as I've said in the last module, we've written a letter that you can take to your doctor that outlines some of the tests that would be good to get done to rule out underlying causes or underlying physical causes in insomnia. Okay, so make sure you do that. All right, so section number 2 is stress and elevated cortisol. I want everyone to watch this section, so let's move forward and talk about it. Okay, remember how sleep and wake, the sleep and wake systems are regulated by 2 major processes. We have the sleep-inducing system, you know, when we've got melatonin and all the other calming neurotransmitters. Well, with the hyperarousal-inducing system, cortisol and adrenaline and noradrenaline are part of the system. Okay, so if you have too much of the stress hormones, you're not going to be able to sleep at night. Okay, stress is all around us. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, our stress levels are really, really high. So, and the thing is, we have these hormones that are being created, cortisol and adrenaline and noradrenaline, when we're really stressed out, and these impact our sleep. Okay. And let's just talk about the stress response for a moment. Okay. The thing is, the sympathetic nervous system stimulates the adrenal glands to release stress hormones. Okay. And it's good. This is good. You know, when we're in the fight and flight response and when we're in hunter-gatherer stage, we want to have a good stress response because it increases our stamina, our alertness, our perception. It increases blood pressure to get the blood pumping to muscles so we can fight or run away. It increases blood sugar levels to provide energy to the muscles. And it even activates the immune system to be on guard because of potential wounds and infections. So this was great when we were hunting wild animals, but is not so good for our long-term chronic stress that us and our lifestyles are in right now. Okay. So cortisol isn't all bad. It has important functions in the body. It just needs to be in balance. Okay. And so this is just giving you, just showing you what the normal production of cortisol is over the day, okay? When we wake up in the morning, we want our cortisol levels to go up. You know why? Because it wakes us up in the morning, okay? We love that I love that cortisol response where you open your eyes and you've got energy and your mind is clear. You're clear and you've got energy for the day and you're in a good mood. That's what cortisol does. Okay, so we want that waking response. But we don't want cortisol to be high across the day. As you can see with the blue line there is where you want your cortisol levels to be. You want them to go down in lunchtime and then in the afternoon and the evening. And then at night time, you want your cortisol levels to be nice and low. Because as we said, we've got this hyperarousal system and we want that to be dominating during the day. We want to be alert. We want to have energy. But we want that to come down at night time and we want our melatonin and our sleep-inducing system to dominate. Okay. But I think what a lot of people kind of overlook is how high cortisol at night can lead to insomnia. Okay. You see here that the cortisol has come down during the day, but not adequately enough, okay? And it's elevated and it's far too high and it's stimulating you. So that's what we're going to talk about now. And what some of the symptoms of elevated cortisol include insomnia, obviously, and anxiety and irritability, depression and fatigue for some, an inability to deal with stress, because your stress hormones are high already. They can't go any higher, so then you can't tolerate any more stress. PMS can be related to elevated cortisol. A history of a breakdown or burnout can be. And post-traumatic stress disorder can be correlated with this too. For some people, you can see that they've got high cortisol because they gain weight around the stomach and the back, okay? You might be working out at the gym and eating really well, but you can't seem to lose this weight. It can be due to your stress levels, okay? Get rid of that stress, can get rid of that weight. Elevated cortisol can result in high blood pressure and blood sugar imbalances too, and increased thirst. So keep in mind that you could have normal cortisol levels throughout the day, but you can have high cortisol at night, okay? So it's not just, I just have high cortisol, it's what time of the day is your cortisol elevated, okay? So that's really important. So what are sort of things that can cause stress and elevated cortisol? Obviously doing too much and rushing, right? Job stress, that's for a lot of us, but also relationship and financial stress too. And also abuse and trauma can set your sort of put your fight and flight response on high alert, okay? Perfectionism and poor self-talk can actually just increase your own cortisol because you're so self-critical and wanting to get everything right, and you might just have too high standards. But as we talked in the diet module, poor diet and caffeine can increase your cortisol too. So just by changing your diet, you can reduce that cortisol and get a better night's sleep and maybe lose some weight too. Something that people overlook is actually over-exercising as a cause of stress, okay? They think, I'm exercising, I'm going to the gym every day, or maybe I have one rest day, and on that day I do a hike, okay? It's not a rest day if you're doing a hike, okay? So over-exercising can elevate your cortisol too, as well as infections, allergies, toxins, and even surgeries. So I just want to stop for a moment and ask you, what is currently causing stress in your life? Okay, this might take a little while to write down all the answers in your workbook, right? Is it the work? Is it your relationships? Is it something about your children, or something about your health, or a family member's health? Or maybe it's been the pandemic. You know, there's a lot of stresses in life. So why don't you identify those right now? Write them down in your workbook. So I want you to look at that list and say, what do I have control over? Okay. What can I modify? What can I do to reduce these stresses? And I know for some people there are stresses that is very difficult to get rid of, so then we have to compensate for them. And in the next section I'm going to be talking about how you can compensate and how you can get your body to deal with these stresses, okay? Cool, so I've got 6 ways, 6 holistic approaches to reducing stress hormones, okay? We're going to talk about them briefly each, okay? And I want you to think about how you can put each of these into your life. Maybe not all of them, because that might just add to the stress, right? And the overwhelm and the list of things that you have to do. But which one of these things could you add in easily? And I also want you, as we go, I want you to think about which ones you can put into your sleep routine at night. So for some of you, you might have even reduced the amount of time that you're going to spend being in bed. So rather than turning off your light too early and not being able to get to sleep, use that time to have a sleep routine, okay? And some of these things are going to fit into that nicely, okay? So let's start with lifestyle, then we'll talk about exercise, breathing and relaxation, journaling, diet, and supplements. So when it comes to lifestyle, remember it's not just about what you do just before bed, but also what you do during the day, okay? This is a game changer, and that's why I'm just pausing. Because I've had clients that don't sleep well, and they do have anxiety. But when we sat down and talked about their day, we realized that they were rushing about, okay? And they were doing all these things to help them get well, but actually they were stressing themselves out in the process and not giving enough breathing space, enough calming time during the day. So my first recommendation is that you stop rushing, okay? It can even just be an attitude, okay? Even when you're driving in the car and there's traffic and you're just stressed out because of the traffic, there's nothing you can do about that, right? So try to be calm in the moment, because when we rush, then we're increasing all that cortisol and the adrenaline, okay? So sometimes it's about our attitude, sometimes it's about reducing the load. So find ways to slow down during the day. Sometimes, as I said, it's attitude. Sometimes it's about just breathing, okay? Sometimes, it might just be getting up from your desk if you're at work and going outside, taking 2 minutes, taking 5 minutes, or even just taking the breaks. A lot of us, well, not us, I don't do this, but a lot of people don't take their breaks, right? They don't take their morning tea, their afternoon tea, their lunchtime. So make sure you're taking your time for you. Also think about your commitments and learn to say no. I came across this post the other day, and someone was saying, I'm trying to get healthy. I'm at full-time work. I've got 3 children, one under the age of 5 months old. I'm studying part-time. And how do I get healthy? And I wanted to say, look at your commitments, okay? Because I wonder who was doing the housework and who was doing the cooking and all the running around after children, okay? So think about, are you expecting too much of yourself, okay? Learn to say no. Create boundaries in your life, okay? Even simple things like no work after 6 o'clock at night, all right? Put some strategies in there. Avoid having difficult conversations in the evening, all right? So, it's often the time when you actually sit down and you're with your partner and you're talking about your day, okay? Avoid those difficult conversations. 10 o'clock at night is not the time to do it, because it's just going to affect your sleep, and then it's going to affect you the next day too, right? And you're going to be more tired and more irritable. Also think about avoiding stimulating or stressful activities in the evening, all right? So exercise could be too stimulating for you. Reading certain material might be difficult, like just a topic. Topics that get your mind going are not good ones. You want to be reading things that are calming to you and turn your brain off rather than turning them on. Okay, same goes for TV, all right? Confession time here. I like reality TV, but it's not my friend if I watch it too late at night, because for some reason I'm just thinking about all the different scenarios and who's doing what, and it just stimulates my brain. And I've heard of other people that watch, emergency TV, and it just stimulates their cortisol response, and so it puts them on edge. So again, think about what you're exposing yourself to at the end of the day, especially. Now, the next way that you can burn off some of these stress hormones is to exercise, okay? is really good, and vigorous exercise can be very good for people with anxiety because it gets rid of some of that adrenaline and cortisol. But exercise should be done during the day, is my hint for you. Stretching or yoga or Pilates could be done in the evening because it helps calm the body down. Right. I know that for some people with anxiety and fatigue, you're actually too fatigued to do exercise. And so you'd be like, oh, I can't do this. Well, you can use massage and you can do stretching, all right? And even Epsom salt baths is another way to sort of help you physically de-stress. Now, I've just got a hint for those that are a bit wary of exercise. I've had some clients with panic attacks, and sometimes going for a run was really great, but other times going for a run actually provoked their anxiety and panic. So what we discovered is that if she would eat before she went and exercised, it was much better, and it was the combination was very helpful for anxiety. So fuel your body with good food, like we've discussed in module 3, before you exercise. Okay, otherwise your blood sugar is going to drop too low. And for other people, replenishing your electrolyte loss, especially your potassium and magnesium, can be very helpful if exercise winds you up or leaves you with very sore muscles. Okay, so what I want to do is change pace a little bit just for a minute, okay? And I just want to show you some of the things that we can do to put into our nightly routine to help us go to sleep. So we're saying exercise, I can't do that. Well, let's do something really simple that you can add, and it takes 5 minutes to your nightly routine. It's going to help you wind down from the day and get you to sleep. So what I want you to do is lean your neck to the left, okay? You can hold it with your hand on the top of your head if you like. And I want you to hold it there for 10 to 20 seconds. Make sure you're breathing. It's going to help relax all the muscles. Okay, I'm going to swap sides. So lean your neck to the right, and you can hold that. I can show that my neck muscles are very tense myself, and just keep breathing. I want you to now put your chin to your chest, and you'll feel all the muscles behind your neck, okay? And I want you to spend longer than we're doing today in your normal routine, but I just want to show you how easy it can be. Now push your neck backwards for 10 to 20 seconds and keep breathing. So see how simple your routine could be at night. Okay, that's only taken us 40 seconds, but you probably spend double the amount of time holding those, and you could repeat it 2 or 3 times. Now I just feel more relaxed already. How about you? Okay, so that's something simple you can add to. And so you don't have to do vigorous exercise. You don't have to find some difficult Pilates or stretching. It's as easy as that. And the same goes with breathing and relaxation. So everything doesn't have to cost us money. You don't have to go out and buy tools here and there and light bulbs and blankets. We can actually do things with our breathing and our stretching too. So breathing is super important for controlling our stress hormones. And many of you would have heard this before, but I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes showing you a very easy technique that is very effective for getting to sleep. Okay, and you can do this during the day too for anxiety. But remember that when you breathe shallow and when your breath is shallow, okay, it actually turns on the fight and flight response. And usually people breathe through the chest. That is a very shallow breath. Okay, but what you want to do is breathe through the diaphragm, breathe through the belly, have a deep breathing, because it lowers cortisol and turns on the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, and this is the part of the nervous system that is calming. Okay, so to breathe properly, it's important that you use your diaphragm. And you can tell if you're using your diaphragm when you're breathing because you expand your belly. Okay, and when you inhale, so when you inhale, you want to feel your belly expand out. Okay, so I'm going to teach you Dr. Vale's 4-7-8 breathing technique for sleep. And so the trick is you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold it for 7, and you exhale for 8 seconds and repeat. Here's just a few suggestions on how to do the diaphragm breathing. And I would be recommending you doing 5 to 10 minutes once or twice daily, okay? You lie on your back on a flat surface or in your bed with your knees bent. Or you can sit up straight. You can do it with me now. Sit up straight in a chair. It's best to place one hand on your upper chest and the other on your upper belly, especially when you're learning this, okay? And breathe in slowly through your nose, letting the air in deeply. And when you inhale through your nose, your hand on your chest should remain still, but the one on your belly should rise, and that's showing you're breathing into your diaphragm. When you exhale, and you want to do that through the mouth, you tighten your abdominal muscles and force the exhale, okay? And so you can feel that by your hand on your belly moving back to its original position after inhaling, the belly rises, exhaling, the belly flattens. All right. So let's do that now together, right? Or let's just find another one that is going to be super simple for you to add before you go to sleep, because I want this course to be practical. Okay, so I want you to inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want you to hold that for 7 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now exhale through the mouth for 8 seconds and let that belly flatten. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale through the nose, let that belly expand. 3, 4. Now hold it for 7 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now exhale through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know that we've just done that twice, but how simple is that? 4, 7, 8. Breathing through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. So you can take 5 minutes before you go to bed when you're a bit wound up and you know you need to de-stress at night, and just put that into your sleeping routine. Now, for some people, they might be like, oh, I don't like having to do it myself. I want to be guided. Okay, there are a lot of mindfulness apps that you can use. So there's the Insight Timer as a favorite of one of my clients, as well as the Calm app. And Headspace is a common one too. So you can download these, and they have a lot of different techniques and guided meditations. And so that can be very useful. But you definitely want to be doing it if you've got anxiety or if you struggle to get to sleep at night. Okay. Another thing that you can add to your routine to reduce your stress hormones is regular journaling. Okay, so I don't expect you to do every one of these suggestions, but I'm giving you a few different ones depending on your strengths and your personality. Okay, and so there's 2 helpful options depending on the time of the day. Okay, firstly, you can do a worry journal. Now, this is not to do this. You don't want to do this before bed, right? But you could have a worry journal. You can write a worry that is on your mind in one column, and in the second column write down a potential solution. Okay, if you can't think of a solution, you can even just write things like, I'll ask a friend, or I'll Google it later, or maybe I'll leave it to God, or maybe I'll just leave this till tomorrow, or maybe let's give it some time. Okay, so your best time of the day is, earlier in the day to do this, but maybe, before dinner, Okay, so you don't want to increase your worries, but get the worries down on paper. Again, that will help you process them. The other thing that you could do is have a gratitude journal, and this can be part of your sleep routine. Okay, you could just ask yourself one question every day, or you could have a set of different questions that you might like. And here's a few that you could try. What are 3 things I'm grateful for today? What beauty did I see today? What was one small victory I had today? What made me smile or laugh out loud today? What skills or strengths did I use today? And what made me feel hopeful today? So again, and this is the last little activity, I believe, I want you to choose one of these questions to answer right now. And we're just going to spend 20 seconds doing it. Okay, in your workbook, I want you to write your answer to one of these questions. What was one small victory I had today? What are 3 things I'm grateful for today? And what beauty did I see today? Hopefully I've given you enough time just to quickly do that, but it just shows, you know, these things don't only need to take 1 or 2 minutes at night, but they can be very helpful for processing and winding down. Now, I hope you're not falling asleep on me. Okay, well, let's just talk about diet quickly. We've had a whole module on this and how it can impact sleep, but don't forget how diet can increase or decrease your stress hormones, all right? And as I said, it's not just about what you're eating before bed, it's also about what you're doing during the day. So that's not just when it comes to stressing and worrying and hurrying and rushing, but also about what you're eating, okay? So I said, completely eliminate caffeine, including beverages and chocolate, and balance your blood sugars. As I said, you need regular food intake. No skipping meals, including protein or fat with every meal, reducing your processed foods and sugar, and concentrating on whole foods, so meat, fish, veggies, nuts, healthy fats. And I think this is something that you want to include for some people in their nightly routine. Consider eating a snack before bed. Okay, we've talked about this in the diet module, but when you're thinking about creating a routine before bed, that's something that you can do. And the reason you want to do that is if you wake up early hours of the morning in panic or anxiety, or you wake through the night and you think that it could be due to low blood sugars. So I've just got one extra tip, and it's kind of to do with your diet. And this is really good for people that can't wind down at night and your mind is racing away, okay? And so just one word of caution, this is not recommended for anyone with high blood pressure, okay? Precaution aside, what my tip is to drink salty water. Now, you know, we're always told get salt out of your diet, but the thing is when people have got adrenal issues, so they have a lot of fight and flight hormones flying around and high cortisol, your adrenals also impact your electrolytes, impact the salt in your blood, okay? And sometimes, if you've got these adrenal issues, your electrolytes are going to be out of balance, and drinking salty water is going to give you the salt that your body needs. And you know what the benefit of that is? Your racing mind relaxes, okay? Your racing mind stops, okay? And so what you can just do is add an eighth to a quarter of a teaspoon of sea salt or Himalayan salt to every glass of water you drink, okay? And I put here to taste. Some people are like gag when they drink it, but I don't want you to do that. I just want you to put enough in there that, that it's in there, but it's not too much to make you feel ill or sick, okay? And if you drink salty water before sleeping, or when you wake up in the middle of the night, if you're having that anxiety or those racing thoughts in the middle of the night, can actually calm your body down. Okay, good hint, eh? Very simple, doesn't cost you anything. Finally, we're just going to talk about supplements that you can use to reduce your stress hormones. I'm going to be a bit of a broken record here. Magnesium, okay, 200 to 300 milligrams daily, once or twice, okay. And when it comes to ashwagandha, this is a herb to support the adrenal glands. It's called an adaptogenic herb. So it's going to lift your adrenals when you need it lifted, and it's going to help bring down that cortisol at night as well, to bring that cortisol down. And the dosage for ashwagandha is between 300 and 500 milligrams once or twice daily. Okay, phosphatidylserine is my other favorite secret supplement that not a lot of people talk about, and it's really important for sleep as well, and it helps you lower that cortisol. This is for people that have tried melatonin and it just doesn't seem to work, right? Well, one of the reasons that melatonin doesn't work is because your cortisol level's too high, right? And phosphatidylserine, as well as ashwagandha, is really good at lowering that cortisol. Okay, the dosage is 200 to 300 milligrams 30 minutes before bed. Okay, you could also take it during the day for anxiety. I have some clients that take it then too. But so all three supplements can be taken to reduce anxiety and insomnia. And you want to lower stress hormones, it's good to lower cortisol during the day as well as at night. Okay, so this is particularly for people that have got anxiety during the day. Okay, you don't want to be anxious during the day and then go, oh, I'm going to take some supplements now to lower my cortisol. No, we want to get those cortisol levels down throughout the day, down from very high elevated levels down to normal levels. Okay. Cool. So remember, we have a supplement guide, and it's going to give you information about the ashwagandha and phosphatidylserine and magnesium too, where you can get them from and what dosages you can take. I also just want to give you a word of caution. You can't supplement your way out of a hectic, stressful lifestyle or an overload of caffeine, okay? So first things first, reduce the caffeine, help reduce the stress where you can, and then supplement. And I mean, yes, you can supplement to compensate for stress that you can't, that is sort of outside of your control. But where there is stress that is inside of your control, you need to manage your lifestyle and expectations and boundaries. Okay. So what I'd like you to think about is creating a 1 hour routine before bed to help you wind down. Because sleep is not just like a switch that you're on and now it's time to turn the light switch off. Time to go to sleep. Doesn't usually work like that. We need to wind our body down. Okay, we're awake. Now it's time to slow down, wind down, relax. Now it's time to sleep. Okay, now I want you to think about what are some easy things that you can put into your routine to help you go to sleep. Mindless chores where you're not thinking, okay, and you're not stressing. Maybe a shower or a bath. But as I said in module number 2, be aware of your light exposure in the shower and in the bathroom. You can use, obviously, your teeth and your beauty regime as part of your wind down routine. Supplements and salty water, as we've just discussed. A protein and carb snack, so eating before bed if you wake up at early hours in the morning. Reading or journaling. Stretching or massage, breathing, or mindfulness. And I would suggest that you experiment between using 3 to 6 of these strategies before bed to help you wind down and help you get that good night's sleep that you're after. Cool. So let's stop again and consider some questions. So firstly, are you stressed out, wired, or anxious? Obviously, we need to do something about that to help you sleep. Do you give yourself downtime during the day to unwind and process your day? Are you rushing around and is your day too full? Hope you've got your workbook out and thinking about these things and the areas that you need to work on and could be impacting your sleep. What can I do during the day to reduce my stress levels? Is it exercise? Is it taking breaks? Is it just breathing? Is it eating regularly? Do you exercise regularly? That one strategy could turn your sleep around. Do you work in the evenings? Or do you watch or read any stimulating material that means you're wound up or worried at night? Are there particular TV shows? Are there particular books? Does social media get you anxious and worried? Are you working too late? And what can I add to my bedtime routine to help me wind down? Now, this one might take a little bit longer to cultivate and think about and get your answers, but start experimenting with what you can do before bed. Is it some stretching? Is it some breathing? Is it some supplements or salty water or eating? Or is it just some mindless chores and a bath and a shower and red light? Cool. Once you've filled that in the workbook, let's move on. Now we're going to talk all about progesterone deficiency. So if you're a man, you can bail on this, but if you're a female that's particularly affected by her hormones and your sleep might be affected 1 or 2 weeks before your sleep, then you really want to watch this. So, as I said, is your sleep bad for 1 to 2 weeks of the month? Then you need to stick around for this material. And my other question is your sleeping sporadic? And have you never really thought about if your sleep is affected by your hormones? Okay. If you haven't, then what I want to encourage you to do is keep a diary, okay, tracking your sleep, your mood, and your menstrual cycle, okay? Because many women and girls are unaware of the pattern. Okay, and there's an app that I like to recommend, and it's called the Clue app. Clue, okay, and it's very visual, and so just keep the information that you're including in this tracker to a minimum, like just bad sleep, bad mood, anxious, and I've got my period, and it will work really, really well for you. Don't overload it with too much information. But if it's small, you will start to see when your sleeping is poor and if it could be affected before your period or during your period. Okay. So the roller coaster of hormones going up and down can really affect your sleep and mood. Okay. Unfortunately, as women, affected by our hormones a lot more than men. And a deficiency in the progesterone hormone can cause cyclical insomnia. Okay, progesterone is a hormone, and you've probably heard of estrogen. Okay, well, progesterone's its sister, okay, and really they should be in balance in the body. They have slightly different functions, but they are both female hormones, okay, and progesterone regulates the menstrual cycle. It helps prepare your body for conception, and it helps maintain a pregnancy. It's also related to bone growth, fluid and electrolyte balance. So if you get progesterone deficiency, you can get a bit puffy and fluid retention, but also affects memory and mood. So super important. Okay. When it comes to sleep, progesterone binds to the GABA receptors. And I mean, I brushed over this in our introduction module, but GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. It's a bit similar to serotonin, okay, and it's involved in the sleep cycle. And if you have a deficiency in GABA, you can have anxiety too, okay. The thing is that progesterone binds to the GABA receptors and so therefore promotes calm in the body, all right? And when you have a deficiency in progesterone, you have deficiencies of anxiety, irritability, and insomnia. And this can be due to a GABA deficiency, okay? And as I said, symptoms are usually cyclical, 1 to 2 weeks before the menstrual period. And it can occur in women of any age, all right? So progesterone deficiencies can be there from the beginning. Some people can have their period and they can have terrible PMS right from day one. Others, it can be due to perimenopause. As they're approaching menopause, their hormones can get out of balance. Because the thing is, progesterone levels drop before estrogen does, okay? So here are some of the deficiency symptoms of progesterone, okay? So with the nervous system, you can have anxiety, depression, fatigue, headaches, insomnia, mood swings, and PMS. Some of the reproductive issues you can have with a progesterone deficiency is endometriosis, heavy and irregular periods, infertility, and uterine fibroids. So if you've got any of these, this could be highlighting progesterone, something that could help you from a reproductive perspective as well as a sleep perspective. Okay. Breast swelling and tenderness, fibrocystic breasts, joint and muscle pain, and water retention are other progesterone deficiency symptoms. And these usually will be heightened the week or two before your period and will subside once your period, your bleeding begins. Okay. So what I want to just show you here is the normal hormonal changes that you have as a female, okay? If you're not on the pill and you're not suppressing your cycle, okay? In the black is estrogen, and that peaks around between day 7 and 16, all right? And whereas progesterone, which you can see in the orange, peaks around between day 17 and 26, usually around day 21. And day 1 is the first day of your period, okay? And so you can see that first estrogen comes up, and then progesterone comes up, and then estrogen's relatively high in that second part of the menstrual cycle as well. But you can see that progesterone peak there, right? Well, on the right-hand side here is what happens during PMS, okay? And you're having a progesterone deficiency. You see how that progesterone level has dropped in that second part of the period, or the menstrual cycle, sorry. And I just want to highlight it. There's a perception that it's the hormonal changes that lead to PMS, and it's the hormonal changes that lead to insomnia. Well, it's not the normal hormonal changes that happen every month that cause it, because then every woman would have insomnia and every woman would have PMS. It's actually when we have a progesterone deficiency, okay? And you need sensitive tests to determine this, but your progesterone deficiency is very common. Okay, so it's the progesterone deficiency, not the normal changes that can lead to the insomnia. Okay, So I just want to go through some treatment recommendations for anyone that has progesterone deficiency, or even if you're just suspecting it, okay, and it's big, and you can tell because of your symptoms that week or two before your period. So firstly, you've got to think about your lifestyle, and you've got to reduce your stress, okay. I can't go into it right now, but progesterone is affected by stress and a lot, okay. Secondly, you want to reduce light exposure at night and increase light exposure in the morning. And we've talked about this already, but this will help the circadian rhythm, will help balance your hormones too. Ensure you're having a good bowel motion every day, because if you're not having a poo every day, I know, I'm sorry, we're going to talk about these things. If you're not having a stool, a poo, a bowel motion, then your toxins build up in your body, and your liver cannot process the toxins as well as your hormones, okay? And so if you are constipated, that can be one of the triggers of hormonal imbalances. So that should be a real high priority if you've got constipation, okay? Another thing you can do to help your hormones is eat lots of cruciferous vegetables, because this helps the liver detox. Okay, cruciferous vegetables are things like broccoli and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and cabbage. Okay, so include those, at least 1 or 2 cups of those in your diet every day. Okay, again, I'm going to talk about magnesium supplementation, okay, because magnesium is known to improve PMS symptoms and help sleep, okay. Again, the dosage is 200 to 300 milligrams of elemental magnesium once or twice a day, and magnesium glycinate is the preferred form of magnesium for sleep. But it's got the benefit of balancing your hormones as well, not just improving sleep, but improving PMS if you have that, okay. Also want to help you improve your progesterone levels by using chasteberry herbs. Okay, so chasteberry is also known as Vitex agnus castus, okay, and it's a herb that's been used for a long time, okay, probably centuries, all right, and because it helps your body increase your production of progesterone, okay, and studies show that it's effective at reducing PMS symptoms. Okay, so it works on the hormonal imbalance that is causing the insomnia. It's just not just a treatment for insomnia, it's a treatment for the hormonal imbalance that is causing the poor sleep. The dosages for the dried fruital berry is usually between 400 and 2,000 milligrams a day. Okay, and you usually take it in the morning, so maybe breakfast and maybe at lunch, all right? There is some confusion about the form of chasteberry, and so you can get the dried fruital berry, and then you can get concentrated forms, okay, and they concentrate the active ingredient, and then you only need dosages of 40 to 200 milligrams a day. So just be aware of what you're actually purchasing and make sure you're getting a therapeutic dose to make sure it works. Okay, the other way that you can improve progesterone is through using natural progesterone, okay? It's actually a hormone, and you can buy it as a cream or a capsule, okay? It's called micronized progesterone capsules, and this definitely requires a prescription, all right? Because it's a hormone, it requires a prescription. But there is natural progesterone cream in the US, definitely, and in some other countries that you can get over the counter, okay, and doesn't require a prescription. In New Zealand here, we require a prescription for natural progesterone, all right? Okay, so you're just going to have to find out in your country whether you need a prescription or not for progesterone. I want to just give you a little bit more background around these natural hormones, okay? Because it's very important that you understand and get some clarity about them. Okay, so natural hormones have been used for over 60 years, and you can hear people calling them natural or bioidentical or even human identical. Okay, and the concept comes from mimicking nature by using substances naturally found in your biological system, so in your body, in physiological dosages. Okay. The reason I'm showing you this and talking about this is, you know, people know about HRT, hormone replacement therapy. But that is not bioidentical, and oral contraceptive pills are hormones, but they're not bioidentical either. Okay, so they're based on hormones that are in our body, but then pharmaceutical companies want to be able to paint them, so they put like an extra molecule on the side so they can paint it, but often that will come with different side effects. Okay, so I highlight this because medical doctors don't know much about natural progesterone because it's not made by big pharmaceutical companies. Okay, but I just want you to see on the right hand side there, this is a synthetic progesterone. Okay, and this might be in you know, in an oral contraceptive. Okay, and you can see the orange circles there highlighting the different side chains on the progesterone molecule. If you look at the bottom just above my head, this is natural progesterone. This is bioidentical progesterone, and that's what it should look like. And it's actually, and the synthetic progesterones have 3 extra carbons, they have 4 extra hydrogens, and 2 extra oxygens. So you can see they've got these big side chains. So the reason I point this out is because honestly, you need to know, if you want to try natural progesterone, you need to talk to your doctor and you need to make sure that they know what they're talking about. So progestins are synthetic forms of the body's naturally occurring hormone. Progesterone is not a replica of what's in the body. And progestins, because they're molecular, they're molecularly different from progesterone, they have more side effects. Okay, and they're often contraindicated in anxiety and depression. Okay, so natural progesterone is also known as bioidentical or micronized, is a replica of what's in the body, and it is not the same as progestins. I know that I'm laboring this point, but many doctors are not familiar with natural progesterone and do not understand the difference. Now, I want you to understand the difference. Okay, so here's the 2 different ways that you can get natural progesterone, okay, probably with a prescription in most countries. There's the natural progesterone cream, and the dosage that you take is 20 milligrams once or twice a day. Now, you don't take it every day of the month, okay? We want to replicate what goes on in the body, and I showed you in the in our menstrual cycles how progesterone peaks in the second half of the month. Well, you only want to take progesterone during the second half of the month too if you're menstruating. So you apply it on days 14 to 26 of the menstrual cycle, where day 1 equals the first day of bleeding, and usually most people have about a 28-day cycle. Okay, so you're taking it from ovulation to 2 days before your period. And you want to apply it to non-hairy, non-fatty areas of the body. Examples are your inner forearms, your neck, your upper chest, and your breastbone, but not your breasts. Okay, that's why it says non-fatty. So not on your breasts, not on your thighs, not on your tummy. Okay. The other way you can have natural progesterone is by using micronized progesterone capsules. Okay, and the capsules dosages are a lot higher, 10 times higher, so 100 to 200 milligrams once or twice daily. And again, you take them on days 14 to 26 of the menstrual cycle, where day 1 equals the first day of bleeding. Now, it can depend, you're probably asking which one should I take. So here's some guidelines. One, it might depend just on your doctor and whether they're willing to prescribe this or not for you. But here's some suggestions. I would recommend natural progesterone cream or capsules for severe PMS or PMDD, regardless of your age. Okay. I'd also recommend it for people over 40 years of age, or women 40 years of age, for PMS and for perimenopause. And it can also be taken for people that have postnatal depression too. Okay, I'd recommend the capsules. The capsules can be very helpful for sleep, actually. Okay, so it can be better for improving sleep because it increases GABA more than the cream. Okay, and if taken in the morning, can give you a but you have to. Here's a precaution here. If you take the capsules in the morning, it can give you a sedative effect. So the benefit, what you want to do is take capsules at night time, okay, to help you, especially if you're having poor sleep. All right. So natural progesterone, the creams or capsules, better for older women and people with severe PMS. But the chasteberry herb can be very helpful too. And I recommend that for women younger than 40 years of age. And just a precaution here, don't use the progesterone cream and chasteberry at the same time. So I just wanted to point out another bonus that I've got for you. It's a bonus letter, and it's a letter asking your doctor to consider using micronized progesterone, okay? And just a precaution or a word of warning, it's likely your doctor won't know about it, okay? Because it's often an unfunded medication, so you may have to pay for it yourself depending on what country you're from. And it's often made by compounding pharmacies, okay? But that letter's going to be helpful for you to take to your doctor, and then they can help prescribe the progesterone for you if that's the right option for you. Cool. And the last supplement, the last treatment when it comes to hormonal imbalances and it affecting your sleep is GABA supplementation. Okay. As I said, when the progesterone drops and you've got that deficiency, it can lead to poor sleep because of reduced GABA levels. And GABA is a calming neurotransmitter, and it's helpful for insomnia and anxiety. And you know what? It's also helpful for muscle tension. So if you've got a lot of physical issues with your anxiety and for your depression, GABA can be very helpful there too. The dosage is very broad, but it can be anywhere in the range of 150 to 500 milligrams once or twice daily. Okay, I'd start on low doses and increase as required. So take as a lozenge or open the capsule onto the tongue, because then it's going to work faster. Okay, so this is really good for being wound up and anxious at night. Okay, if you take too much, you can feel quite groggy in the morning. Okay, so just keep that in mind if you're taking it for sleep. Just balancing out its effectiveness versus its grogginess in the morning. Cool, so let's stop and consider a few questions, because information is great, but information that is implemented is much better. So let me ask you, do your hormones affect your sleep, or are your sleeping patterns up and down? So if your sleeping patterns are up and down, then you need to consider your hormones affecting it and maybe track your hormones versus your sleep. Okay. Have you trialed chasteberry or natural progesterone before? If you haven't and you've got insomnia that week or two before your period, then trial it. Okay, it'd be very beneficial because it's balancing out your hormones. It's balancing the root cause of your insomnia. And are you on magnesium supplementation, and have you tried GABA? Okay. If you're not on magnesium, you'll know they'll be saying, well, get onto it, it's essential. And GABA, as I said, is another really good option for anxiety, as well as cyclical insomnia resulting from hormonal imbalances, progesterone deficiency. Cool, well, let's go on and just have a little wrap up of this information. So remember to review your answers to the questions to consider. And you've done that in your workbook already, but use the answers to those questions to highlight what areas you need to work on to improve your sleep. Okay. So firstly, when it comes to your hormones, rule out hypothyroidism if you haven't before. Okay. Take that letter to the doctor and ask them to order the specific tests for you. Reduce your stress throughout the day to lower cortisol and improve sleep. Remember, it's not just about what you're doing at nighttime, 5 minutes before you go to sleep. It's what you do during the day. So stop rushing, maybe say no, create some boundaries, have some more downtime, and consider some exercise or stretching during the day. Introduce a relaxation technique, super important for stress. And create a 1 hour wind down sleep routine. And that could include supplements such as ashwagandha or phosphatidylserine or serine. Ensure you have optimized your diet to reduce any adrenaline surges. All right, so balance your blood sugars and get rid of that caffeine. Balance out progesterone if hormones affect your sleep. Okay, and maybe track your hormones versus your sleep if you haven't done that before. But balancing out your progesterone, you can use chasteberry herbs or natural progesterone cream or progesterone capsules. You can also take magnesium and or GABA supplementation too. So remember, we have resources available. We have the letter for your doctor about micronized natural progesterone. We have the letter for your doctor about testing recommendations, and we have our supplement guide too. But finally, I want to ask you these 3 questions, and I want you to answer them before you go on to the next module. So what can I do to reduce or compensate for my stress during the day? What can I add to or remove from my bedtime routine to help me unwind? So it might be adding things, but it could be removing things too, like TV or social media, or just changing what you're doing and what you're watching. Now, what lifestyle changes and supplements could I begin to improve my progesterone levels? It could be chasteberry, it could be GABA, it could be a natural progesterone cream or capsules. So I want you to answer those questions, and then I'll see you in module number 6, where we'll discuss overlooked food intolerances. I'll see you there.